All right, we are going to get started here as people kind of filter in getting signed on. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mary Churros, and I am a Partner Development Manager here at eOne. Chris Tu is also on the webinar today, and he is our Popdock Product Manager and has been with eOne for a very long time in a couple of different roles. So, just a couple housekeeping things before we start on today's presentation. This is being recorded so that you guys can get this afterwards and share it with anyone else in your organization. So you're all muted because of that. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please type them in the chat box and we will get to those and answer those questions for you. All right, so today we are going to be discussing how to sell Popdock. Popdock is one of the latest offerings from eOne. We're going to go through that and give you guys some tools and resources to start using the solution. All right, so our agenda for today, we're going to go through a brief description of what is Popdock in case you haven't seen it in a long time or maybe you've never seen it before. Then we'll get into how Popdock is going to help you as a partner win deals with your customers. We'll talk about different value propositions to discuss with your customers as you're positioning Popdock. We'll briefly touch on pricing, and then we'll get into some resources that are available to you as a partner. So starting off with our overview of Popdock, I just want to give you guys some of the key features of Popdock and what it does. So first off, Popdock is first and foremost an end user query tool. So when we say that, we mean that Popdock is a tool that is for the end user to be able to do ad hoc reporting on the data that they need. So if you are a GP partner or you're familiar with that solution, you probably have worked a lot with SmartList Builder and SmartView, and Popdock really extends that concept to the cloud. It gives users the ability to filter and sort on the data that they need. So you can see here in this screenshot that we've got right inside the Popdock app, you're able to get that data in a nice list form and then filter on it, sort it, be able to even merge that with other data. So it really extends that concept there. Popdock is always real time. So this is a huge differentiator for Popdock from some other solutions out there like a Power BI. We don't need to use a data warehouse or anything like that to be able to get to the data that they need. Popdock always has a live connection to the system or multiple systems that it's working with. So you can see here, setting up a connector is very simple and it's something that an end user can do, which is really, really important. Because we want end users to be able to use the solution and set up all the things that they need to. So in just a matter of minutes, really, they can have a connection set up and be working with that data. So it's very different than something like Power BI or SSRS, where you really need someone who's highly technical or even a BI architect to be working with that solution. Popdock can work with any data, and when we say any data, we really mean it. We have over 60 plus connectors right now that are built out to grab data and be able to display that with Popdock. We just added Acumatica, that's a very recent one for us, and you can see a lot of these are non-Microsoft connectors, so we're working across really all different stacks of technology. We add one connectors all the time, and we also have a web services connector, so we really can get at any data that's out there for that customer. If you guys have a system that you're working with as a partner all the time with a customer that you think Popdock would be a good fit for, please reach out and let us know that. We are really working hard to add as many connectors as we possibly can. So we want to be able to work with you guys on that. So we always say we can work with any data and we can work with that data anywhere. So what do we mean by that? One of the biggest features of Popdock is our widgets. So you can see here, we are able to take data and display it anywhere in a widget inside a system. So what you're looking at here is a screenshot of Dynamics 365 Sales, and embedded within it, you're seeing ERP orders. So this can be coming from any ERP system, NetSuite, Acumatica, we could be working with Dynamics 365, Business Central, even GP or on-premise Nav. We can display that data in a format that's familiar to the customer. We can do that in an on-premise system as well. So you can see here in just your traditional GP on-prem system, we have this sidebar that Popdock is adding in as a widget, and we're viewing Dynamics 365 sales data. So that accounting person doesn't need to go digging through a CRM system that they're not as familiar with to find the data that they need. They're able to see it right in the system that they work in every single day. Salesforce, we can display data outside of the Microsoft stack. So here you're seeing invoice data from an ERP system right inside Salesforce. So we're able to do that as well. Zendesk. We are working heavily with Zendesk partners all across the United States, North America, and in Europe. And we're helping them work with their customers to be able to display data within Zendesk. So you can see here, we're just in a help desk system. We've got this broken toaster issue. And right there on the side, we're seeing Dynamics 365 sales information. So that help desk person can be aware of who is the main point of contact on this account, what's going on with the account, are there open opportunities? Because that's important for a help desk person to know as they're working with that customer as well. Microsoft Teams. This is one of the latest widgets we've developed, and I'm very excited about this one personally. As we're all on this call, mostly Microsoft partners, most of us are using Microsoft Teams and the Office 365 stack, especially as we're all working remotely right now. So with Popdock, we are actually able to embed data inside of a team. So we can be working on a project in that team, communicating right there with the other people that are a part of the group, and we're visualizing we're visualizing Popdock information right there. So this data could be coming from anywhere. It could be coming from Zendesk, an ERP system, a sales system, and we can even take action on some of that data, which leads me into kind of my last point here. Popdock is actionable. So while we are visualizing data first and foremost, we're able to do something with that data. So you can see here inside D365, we've got an invoice. Well, we can open up that invoice or open up that customer inside of Business Central where this data is coming from. So even though, yes, it's not a true integration, we are still able to take action on that data and use it in a meaningful way for that customer. So if they have rights to the ERP system, they could open up that invoice and view it right there and do something with it if they need to. So those are really the key features of Popdock. And now we are gonna get into a demo with Chris Du, our Popdock product manager, to show you guys that in action so you can see how that's working.
All right, thanks, Mary. Yeah, she brings up some really good points, some really nice bullet points here, and I'll just kind of walk through a few more of them and have a bit more of a conversation around, again, how you can utilize this in the conversations that you're getting into. I think one of the things that you'll see as an ongoing focus here at eOne is that where we maybe initially, did a ton around integration and moving data between systems. What you're going to find now is that we're going to give you a bit more in that conversation of integration of really what is needed for your customers. And I think many of you, if you sit down and think about it for a little bit, there's probably a bunch of your customers that you maybe gave them a full-blown integration solution that cost tens of thousands of dollars, and that maybe really wasn't what they needed, or what they really wanted, but it was what was needed to actually deliver the solution at the time. I think what Popdock's going to give you is a conversation, somewhere between Popdock and Smart Connect that lets you talk about where their needs really are, and you have a set of tools that sometimes you may use both, sometimes maybe just one or the other. But again, it starts you with a really great conversation on what to have. So what I'm going to do just is to step into a couple of basics of Popdock, and what it allows us to do really is basically we can have any of our connectors that we have set up in the system. We can use those and access the data in the exact same way. And so right now I'm looking at a Business Central connection that I have. It's one of many that I have inside of here. I have a customer list. And I just want to show you it's very easy to interact with whatever data is. So if I want some additional address information, maybe some balance information, whatever it may be, I can add those columns with a couple of clicks. That's what I think is really important. Again, one of the things that you can see is Skippy's jumping around. This is pulling live, right? There is no data warehouse in the middle here, right? It removes a lot of that complexity that a lot of companies don't necessarily need in a BI tool. They just want to be able to get at the data that they need to do their job every day. And so I can quickly add some extra information. I can remove fields. I can filter on as many criteria as I want. This is a really big one. I think a lot of people they've run into limitations where they maybe only can do 4 or 5 filters or something like that. You can just keep on, mashing on this button and have as many of the criteria as you need. And some of the really cool things that are built in here are things like, um, let's see. Okay, I'm in a different one here. Um, I don't have many dates. I typically pick a transaction one, but depending on the type of data that you have, you're going to see different options show up here where, maybe if it's a string field, you're going to have, some values contain or does not contain. Or since this is a date, we're getting a couple of different values. And even to that measure, I could do some really fun things around the accounting side of things where I can say, hey, give me everything, maybe every transaction that was created this week or this month or this quarter or this year. Or what's really critical sometimes is give me last month, last quarter, and do some of those comparisons. That I think is what drives a lot of value for the end users, right? That want to have their own reports without necessarily needing to go to the IT or even to you as consultants each time. You can give them some tools after you create those initial reports that they need, and they can now get the data that they want. I think another really big thing is, again, all the concept of favorites and being able to share those favorites to other people. All of those things are in here in this interface, and I think, again, provide a ton of value. Now, one of the things that we talk about too is, right, there's a ton of connectivity to other systems. And so if I just quickly go back to my home page here, I want to show you that if we go into connectors, this is where you set up new connectors. I have a ton of them. It's loading right now. But if I choose to add connector, just add one more to my mix, you'll see that there's a bunch, everything from Azure information to a ton of Microsoft products to getting outside of that Microsoft ecosystem, even into a lot of the other tools and ERP systems that may be available. But a couple of things I just want to point out that are really important to understand is if you need to access maybe some legacy data. I think a really key thing I hear from people today is on hybrid reporting, right? Not everything is in the cloud, but sometimes we need to make some of those things available, especially in the times that we're living in right now, where people need to have access to some of that data that they haven't had in the past. And so being able to connect to some of those legacy systems or SQL Server based systems is great. But then while we have a ton of connectors, there's a whole lot of them that we haven't done yet, as dedicated connectors, or some of them we just don't even know about, right? They're specialty products that you'll find as you are in your business. You oftentimes carve out a little niche, and if there are APIs around those things that you're connecting to, Popdock has you covered, and you can use this information. And I think the beautiful thing that as we're building new connectors, we are building them so that Smart Connect can utilize them as well. So this is we're working together as a cohesive unit at eOne, and we're now pooling our resources so that we can, again, provide you, the partners, with additional integration options and reporting options as you go forward. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you one of the things we talked about is the value of presenting this data wherever you live. This is great. This is a web application, right? Anybody can open this anywhere they need to, but that's not always what people want. They want to see data where they work. And so again, if you work here, even this basically home page or dashboard, right? This gives me a chance to maybe see some of those lists that are important to me, right? What is stuff I need to do today? So again, maybe it's something I'm analyzing my customers with a balance, and I know for whatever I see in there, I need to do something with those customers. Or again, here's my number of help desk tickets. I need to go do something about my help desk system and follow up and say, why do we have 73 outstanding? Like, we need to address those things. So just some really cool ways of maybe just seeing the data in a slightly different way on how you need to work that day. Just a little tidbit, this is Martin's favorite one. He loves to look at, what are the sales coming in today, this week, this month. So he loves his Popdock dashboard and uses that approximately 48 times a day, I think. That might be light. Okay, but what I'm going to show you now is we're going to start logging into some other systems and showing you how this interaction can be done between those areas. So I'm showing you Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement, or CRM. And what I'm showing you now is that without doing an integration like we traditionally would have, right, with Smart Connect, we would have moved the data between an ERP system and CRM and basically duplicated all those things and allowed you to pay for them twice in the cloud. Now Popdock is saying, hey, let's make one system the system of record, right? So our ERP system could be Business Central or GP or F&O or again, QuickBooks or Acumatica or NetSuite, whatever it is. But we can make that the system that has all the invoices, and then we just present them inside of the CRM system. So then for people that spend their day inside of a CRM system, like Dynamics 365, they can have access to the data they need. So if we look at this information right now, right, we can see that I'm able to pull, all of the specific invoices for this Giordano's customer or account as we see it inside of there. But further to that, we can actually show some additional details. So I could show some line item information. I can also show live information coming from a tracking system, right? So if I click on this one with a tracking number, you can see that this package was delivered to my door. And so here's the entire history. That's coming from another system, right? That's a live look into our shipping system. That could be, in this case, it's USPS, but it could be FedEx, DHL, could be, depending on some maybe in Canada or UK, there's different ones. So we're tapping into all those systems to allow you to take related information and show that. So hopefully this gets some wheels turning. This shows people how you can present this type of information. Okay, I'm gonna come back to this one in just a second. But I wanna show you just a few other pieces of data, right? I'm still inside of CRM. This still has the same look and feel of the CRM system I'm in, right? It doesn't feel like it's some other data application. It has the same look and feel, but it still gives me all those things, right? The filters, the being able to find something in the search results, and again, I'm pulling from now a help desk system, which is what's pretty cool for a lot of people to be able to see this type of information. So one of the other things that it's important in here is that we can do actions, right? And so, for example, on this, I can actually, without needing to be a Zendesk agent, right? I can maybe add a comment. So now I've given a salesperson a chance to interact with some Zendesk data without necessarily needing to log into their system. So I could add a comment, I could change a priority of this ticket, and it will handle all that information without ever leaving Popdock or CRM. Just to show you again, we do some small, I guess, graphical elements. We have about 8 different chart types. Today we may add a couple more, but we're never going to add 2,000 more, right? I think that's important to talk about. You will run into this, right, as you are selling it into your customer base. And I know more and more people they're looking for value that they can provide their customers in these times that, again, a lot of your customers need to expose additional data or are looking at being more efficient, how they can tie in all those systems to one. But one thing that we hear, especially in our partner channel, is that, Power BI comes up quite a bit. And so I maybe just want to talk about that very briefly, is that, again, we're not going to have 2,000 charts. We're not really a data warehouse. We're really connecting to your data live. So it's for stuff that you need to do your job every day. I think that's an important distinction that we make. So there's still space for both of them. We've even had some of our partners have, we have on the more developer side, we have an API for Popdock that Power BI can consume. And so you can kind of flip the tables Some people that want to make really pretty reports, but they know it's a lot harder to get at the data and they have to be a developer. We make it very easy to connect to Power BI, and now they can take any of the data that we have in Popdock, and now they can make beautiful reports out of it. So we've had a few people do that on either Power BI or even Tableau is another one of those BI tools that is this really more presentation layer, and again, oftentimes more for management as opposed to the people that are down in the trenches doing the work. Just to show you one other example, here's just a bar chart that's pulling from a custom SQL table. So again, we have several different types of data that we're displaying inside of this interface, and I think it's pretty cool. But I want to go back to this for a second. So back to my this is, like I said, happens to be in this example, Business Central invoices. So I'm going to show you a couple things here. I could either drill back to the invoice to see those details. There's actually a details section down here that I could actually just display it without going back to BC. But if I wanted to go and drill into, maybe see some additional stuff that's available, I can do this. And now this is the point in time, right, where you do have to have a Business Central user ID because it is logging into the Business Central system. Maybe before there's opportunities to share with security and stuff like that, if that's acceptable. But now we have to be logged into the system. And so we have, you can see the Giordano's customer, or what was an account inside of CRM. We now are pulling up the details right inside my Business Central Live. Another thing I want to point out, right? Again, getting you the data where you work. So if you spend your entire day inside of an ERP system like Business Central or GP or one of the other ones, now I can actually present data inside of here. So on this customer, we have a Popdock widget that is pulling from another CRM type system, right? So it's pulling some information on the account, and it looks like it's pulling some invoices that have been put inside of the CRM system. So you can see some pretty cool stuff where I could, it could be opportunities coming from CRM, could be, any number of things like leads or whatever. You can display that information in whatever system that you need. So I just want to get you used to looking at that. Since we are inside of Business Central, I think it's important to show you that, again, you're not limited to just one thing. You can actually access all kinds of data. And so as this pulls up, you'll see that I have access to, of course, Business Central lists inside of here. There's like 60 to 80 of the standard ones. And again, you as customers can certainly build some really cool custom reports. We've done many of them, where we've done reports across 30 different companies and then displayed them inside of here. Or just any number of like some really advanced AR inquiry and AP inquiry type of reports. So there's some really cool things you can do, and you can access any of that type of data, right? If I want to access inventory items inside of Business Central, you'll see that now this is going to give me the same look and feel of the Business Central interface, right? It's still Popdock. It still gives me all of those things that we love, the filters, the favorites, all those kinds of things, but it is now has the same look and feel of a Business Central window. So it feels native. I think that's an important part. But here's what's interesting. I don't just have to show Business Central data. I could show those help desk tickets, right? I could show all of those inside of here. I could even show Dynamics GP data. So you might be saying, wait, just a second. Why would you be showing GP data inside of Business Central? Well, let me give you a couple things to think about. We have heard from a number of partners that as they have had a few of their clients go from Dynamics GP to Business Central, that they want to be very careful on how they handle those migration scenarios. There are times where it makes sense to migrate some of the data. There are times when they've been using GP, for example, for 20 years. And so you have to ask, do I want 20 years of all of this history? Is it worth the effort and cost to bring it in? Or is it okay if I just maybe have some access to the sales transaction history inside of the system that I'm using now? And we even have some people that will not only show GP data, they'll combine it with the new Business Central data so they can have one list that has data coming from both. So they have an entire look into their customer history. It doesn't matter if it came from an old, an old system, or again, an old custom system sitting in SQL or something like GP. You now have given them access to see it and search across it in that familiar interface. So I just wanted to show you some of those things are pretty cool. Let me give you a couple of views, right? We're inside of Business Central right now, but what if we took a look inside of Dynamics GP, right? This is embedded inside of there as well. We now have a full Popdock application. So if I pick a company, we'll do this. It now looks and feels like GP, right? This data is coming inside of GP. It's all Popdock. Gives us all those same familiar, great ways of searching on the data and whatever, but it now is working across whatever data we need to in Popdock. And I mentioned the multi-company stuff just very briefly, but you can quickly add additional companies to your list. And so now you'll see it has added one more column that says the company that this data came from. So then it would just keep showing you how many ever companies that you selected, you would get to see that additional data that's coming from there. For some people, that alone is worth the value of Popdock for them, because it really allows them to do some pretty inefficient processes very, very quickly now, simply by checking, a couple of boxes, and now they have data coming from multiple companies. But again, even though I'm inside of GP, I'm not stuck with just GP data, right? Like our Smart List Builder product that again, many of you have sold for many, many years. It's great, and we still use it with Popdock. That's the beauty of this, is right, any list you create with Smart List Builder becomes available for Popdock to use. But now your world opens up, because it can be data coming from credit card, payment gateways. It can be data coming from e-commerce sites. It can be help desk data. It can be from all these other types of systems, and we can see that inside of here. So again, if I just click on the Zendesk tickets, you'll see again, it'll have the same look and feel as all the other GP data, but now it's pulled this live information coming from a cloud-based application. So just wanted to briefly show you that you can do stuff like that and choose what you want to publish, and make sure that security is in there as well. But I want to get you thinking more, right? There's some really cool things that we can start doing inside of GP, because we can attach this information to any GP or third-party window. Same kind of thing. So if I pull this up, and I'll do this first one here. If I pull up, this is a very similar one that I showed you before, but it's now pulling live CRM data, right? It's pulling the opportunities for this customer, but it's pulling them from a CRM system now, Dynamics 365 in this case. So this is pretty cool, because it kind of becomes a combination of Smart List Builder and Extender, where you can now make any type of data available, and you can see that data, but you don't necessarily have to store it and maintain it twice. That to me is one of the things that I had heard, over many, many years of people using Extender. They thought it was an amazing tool, but it was one of those things that oftentimes the data that they were putting into those Extender windows was coming from another system. So just showing you can do some cool things, showing other types of data like that. I'm gonna pull up one more thing on the GP side of things. And you can see now it's pulling all of the sales transactions for this customer. It's reading that off that list. And the beautiful part, I have all of those go-tos, right, that you're used to from Smart List Builder or Smart View. You now can drill back to those right from inside of GP. Okay, I'm going to step outside of GP and show you just very briefly a couple of other areas. And then again, I'm trying to get your wheels turning on really how you can see where your customers will want to use this. If we flip the tables, right, here's Zendesk, some of that same type of information, right? In Zendesk, I can see additional information coming from a CRM system, right? I can maybe see some information on my contact, or some additional opportunity information right from inside of the system, all powered by Popdock. Or if we go to Salesforce, right? I know not everybody in here is um, Microsoft only, right? Many people, especially I think in that Business Central space, they get outside of the Microsoft ecosystem sometimes for things like CRM systems or whatever it may be. But I can show the same type of data, right? I'm now looking at Business Central data inside of Salesforce. It looks and feels like Salesforce, but yet it gives me all the access that I need. And again, some of these things that I'm talking about are literally, you know, 5-minute customizations to a Salesforce screen or CRM screen, and I can now see this data coming from wherever it is. So just wanted to show you again some of those same kinds of things: Zendesk tickets, the product sales breakdown, those kinds of things are all there. Even systems like Acumatica too. I know a few of you have taken Acumatica on. We can start embedding Popdoc inside of the Acumatica interface. So again, if that's where you work and spend your day, you can see that type of information. All right, I think I'm going to hand it back to Mary here. But as I'm doing that, I want to mention probably two of the hottest areas that we have seen lately is that we have our Teams app, so our Microsoft Teams app, where we can embed Popdoc into any place there. Um, that has just been out for a couple weeks now. And so that's been a really beautiful thing that people are starting to see the value of as you spend a great amount of your day inside of the Teams interface is being able to maybe see some project information or again, or maybe see some help desk or maybe you have more of a development team seeing stuff from GitHub or again, maybe it's like I said, maybe it's exceptions like credit card payments that have been declined or those kinds of things, right? You can make that data available wherever you work. And then that I think is really the message summed up very, very quickly is your data in a real-time manner, any data and anywhere you want to see it.
Hey, Chris, before we move on, we got two questions in the chat box
Okay.
I want to go for. So the first one is, can PopDoc be used in conjunction with Power BI?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So I briefly touched on it before, but we have a connector for Power BI that basically right inside of the Power BI interface, you can just tap into the PopDoc, you log into your account, and basically any list from any data source that you have becomes available to add as a data source for Power BI, and then you can use all of their pretty charting and stuff like that. So absolutely Power BI, and then another one, Tableau, is another really high-end BI tool like that. Same kind of thing where you just tap into your existing account. What
Great.
was the
And
second
the
question
second
here?
question is there a limitation on GP windows where PopDoc could be placed?
Okay, yep, good question. There really isn't. I guess here's the limitation I would say is it's anything dexterity based, right? So if you can attach, again, any third party or GP window that is based off of dexterity, you can attach one of these PopDoc widgets or windows to it. So, yep, great question.
All right. Well, that's all we got. So we'll move into the next portion here. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself the presenter again and show the correct screen. All right. Chris, you're seeing my screen?
We are. Yep, looks good.
Great. Just want to make sure. All right, so thank you for going through that demo, Chris. I hope that gave everybody a good indication of kind of what that looks like in a live environment. So many of you have seen PopDoc before and you've just seen it again and you're probably thinking, it's really cool, it looks awesome, but how does it help me? And that's what we want to help you do through PopDoc is win more deals. So I know all of you as partners are involved in ERP software sales and CRM software sales and also selling those implementations and those projects. So we want to be able to help you do that via PopDoc. So I want to talk about some of the key features that are going to help you win the deal. So let's talk about data visualization versus traditional integration. Chris touched on this a bit during the demo, but prior to using PopDoc, I think customers and partners alike always went the traditional integration route. What that means is having data in one spot and translating or manipulating that data and getting it into another spot using a tool like Smart Connect. But that's not always necessary. And that's one of the benefits of Popdock is that it allows you to give customers the insight to the data that they need without having to do complex and often expensive integration. Popdock keeps it simple for those customers. It's also very useful data to them. So Chris talked about it a bit in the demo, but it's putting it in a format that they can recognize. As a CRM user, if they have to go diving into an accounting system to find data, that can often be very confusing because they don't know where to look. They don't know the structure of that system, how to go into all these different cards and find the data that they're looking for. So it puts it where they need it and in a format that they can recognize. And that goes back to it being a very navigable system for that customer. So if they can easily see that data in a familiar format and then take action on it, it makes it much, much easier for someone to work with that system. And it's really going to help the user adoption rate as well. And it demos very well to that customer to know that they don't have to go into 10 different systems to find the data that they need. I think the next thing that Popdock really helps partners with is it helps you get ingrained in your customer. So a lot of us on this call are Microsoft, but maybe working with other solutions as well. Popdoc allows you to go beyond Microsoft. So before, when we would only be working, in the dynamic space or something like that, you can now, as a partner, speak to and deliver services around something that's not Microsoft. And that may be helping that user display GP data inside the Salesforce system or vice versa, working with the marketing people on HubSpot, because you're going to be able to work with other departments. You're going to move out of finance and be able to work with those sales and marketing people, help the Zendesk team or the help desk team that's working with those solutions get the data that they need. And believe it or not, executive leadership. Chris touched on it a bit. Most of you know Martin Olson, who's our very charismatic owner. He loves Popdoc. He runs the business from it. He logs in there every single day, multiple times a day, to see where we are at in sales, what's our daily total, how much of one particular product have we sold. He can see CRM information in there. It's all right there for him, and he doesn't have to go looking in several different places. And we're also not duplicating data anywhere that doesn't need to be duplicated. Popdoc also helps you to deploy faster. So with implementations, we all know they can drag on and on and on, especially when multiple systems are in place. With Popdoc, we can speed up that implementation because we don't need to do a complicated 80-hour integration project, moving data from one system to another. We can use Popdoc and quickly visualize that data anywhere. And that's very appealing to partners and customers alike because it's speeding up and obviously it's bringing down that overall cost. So that's how it's going to help you in the deal. But I want to discuss some points that you can bring up to your customers to help them understand the value of something like Popdoc so that you can incorporate it into these deals that you guys are selling with your customers. So the one thing we've talked about quite a bit is Smart List. And Popdoc is really Smart List for the rest of your app. So those GP partners on the call today, you guys know that customers love Smart List Builder. They love Smart View. Oftentimes we've heard people ask, I wish I could have a Smart List in CRM. I wish I could have a Smart List in my credit card system. And really you can now with Popdoc because it's extending that Smart List interface into a cloud application. And in turn, that's making a migration to the cloud a lot less painful for them because it's giving them that familiar interface. So while it's a big transition to go from a system like Nav on-prem, GP on-prem, even SL or something like that, and move into Business Central, giving them that Smart List-like interface is making it very simple for that customer to say, this is the same way I've always gotten at my data and it works for me. So you can see here, like you saw in the demo, but this is just a quick screenshot, it's that easy Smart List interface that customers love and that they're used to. Something else Chris talked a little bit about in the demo is displaying legacy data. We all know how painful data migration can be. And we saw we can display historical data information from GP or really any other on-prem system inside Business Central. It's eliminating the need for that costly data migration. And in turn, again, making it less painful for that customer. Migrations are hard on customers. It's a lengthy process. It involves a lot of people. It's learning a brand new system when they may have been working in that old system for 15 years. And this is making it easier for them and then in turn easier for you to sell that deal so that it's going to be helpful for the customer. And again, as you're seeing just that legacy data here that we're displaying inside Business Central, you can see that GP information. Again, that could be nav or any other on-prem system. All right, mobile capabilities. This has been a big pain point for the on-prem ERP and CRM community for years. They need a good way to display data mobily. With Popdock, we're able to do that in our Popdock web browser. So they can log in anywhere on their phone, on their tablet, on a computer at home, or at a coffee shop, wherever they're working that day, and see data that maybe they couldn't otherwise. Now that we're all working remotely, this is becoming even more important, and a lot of people are realizing we need a better way to be able to see our data. Simplifying licensing. Licensing is extremely complicated in the Microsoft world and really across all business applications. Being able to figure out who needs what type of license in which system to be able to view what data can be daunting. With Popdock, we're able to give people insight to the data that they need from any system with inside an app or a widget. So it's making that a lot easier for you to explain to your customer, and then a lot easier for your customer to manage. And again, I think we've touched on it a couple times, but Popdock is always real time. And that really is so important for customers because they don't need a data warehouse and in turn, a Power BI architect to be able to figure that out. A lot of our customers that we work with every single day, they're not super technical. They may be just in the IT team or on the finance or accounting team or sales leadership. They're not BI architects. And they don't want to hire someone for that role to manage that internally. And so Popdock is always real time. We can create those connectors in a matter of minutes and have them off to the races and working in that solution. So those are really the main points that we like to drive home that value to the customer. Okay. I want to touch just briefly on pricing in case you haven't seen it before. Popdock is priced on a SaaS per user per month basis. It fits well within all other cloud licensing models that you may be selling through Microsoft or Salesforce or any of those other solutions. We have a per month per user price of $19, and that's across the board. And then we have a flat rate monthly plan price, and those plan prices differ based on what functionality someone needs. So someone may not want widgets off the bat, they just want to start working in the Popdock web browser, and they can do that at the essentials level and then move up from there depending on what they're doing. So it's very flexible so that the customer can do whatever they need to do from that perspective. If you have more questions on pricing, you can type them in the chat box and we can get those answered at the end of this call, or you can reach out to your PDM or the sales inbox for eOne and we'll help you navigate those questions. So I want to talk a little bit about the resources you have available as a partner with eOne. So we never want you guys to feel like you're working in a vacuum or you're alone. We are here to help and help you guys sell that deal in whatever way we can. Off the bat, all our partners receive IURs. So just like you probably have them with Extender and Smart List Builder and Smart Connect using all those tools internally, you can do that with Popdock. We want to help you guys get this set up so you can work with it internally. After this call, please reach out to your partner development manager, or if you don't know who that is, reach out to sales@eonesolutions.com. We're going to get you set up with your IURs. We're going to walk you through getting the admin account set up, adding users, and then showing you how to get started so that you can be successful using that internally and getting to know that solution. Right now, we do have a separate website for Popdock, popdock.com, and it has all the resources available to end users and to partners. So we have videos up there, blogs, knowledge-based articles, anything that you need and that you want to share with your customers up there. If you're looking for something in particular and you can't find it there, please reach out and we'll get you whatever material it is that you need. We have lots of different training opportunities coming up. We have private, virtual training, of course, we're all virtual right now, and we have virtual boot camps that are happening all through the summer, and I'll touch on that schedule next. Your partner development manager, every single partner of eOne has a PDM assigned to them. So if you don't know who that is, please reach out to sales@eonesolutions.com and we'll get you set up with the correct rep. And they can answer any questions for you if you have questions about training opportunities, or if you just want to say, hey, I have this customer and I feel like they might be a good fit for Popdock. Can I run this scenario by you? Be happy to do that and let you know, yeah, that's a perfect fit for Popdock, or no, that's really more traditional integration. You may need Smart Connect for that. That's what we're here to help with. Okay, boot camps. So if anyone's ever attended a Smart Connect boot camp, we are doing those now for PopDoc as well. So I've got the schedule over here. You can see we already sold out the May boot camp. April sold out as well. In June through September, we're going to have them every single month. They're 2-day boot camps, and it's really an in-depth, deep dive into PopDoc, everything you guys need to know to be able to sell that solution, implement it, and support it. I also put up here some of the live weekly demos that we do. We do them every week. I just put a couple up here that are coming up soon. You are welcome to attend these to just learn more. We do them usually specifically around a business application. So you can see we have a GP one coming up and then a Nav Business Central one as well. If you'd like to bring a customer to one of those so that you can kind of, virtually attend with them and then discuss it afterwards, or let us stay on the call and we can all discuss it together, what they've seen, if it's a good fit for them, we can absolutely do that. We always have the private training option. If you guys are looking to get trained on PopDoc, love to talk to you about that and set that up for your team. We always have chat, call-in, and email support, just like with the rest of eOne applications. Don't be afraid to use that if you have questions or are needing assistance with PopDoc as well. All right, so as next steps, I want everyone on this call afterwards to reach out to your PDM. So I put us all up there. I run the Central region. Alicia Bement, who's been with eOne for a very long time. She is your East Region rep. Michelle Uni, she is the PDM for Pacific Canada and Australia. And then Linda Johnson runs all business development for Europe. So please reach out to her if you're in the European region. But I want everyone to reach out after this call, get your IUR set up, start working with that solution and using PopDoc internally to see how it works for you guys. If you have a customer in mind that you think would be a good fit for this and you want to get them set up on a trial, you can do so at popdoc.com, or you can reach out to your PDM and we will help you guys get set up and help facilitate that trial. So that is all I have for today. I want to thank everyone for attending, and if you have any questions, please reach out to your PDM or reach out to sales@eonesolutions.com and we'll get those answered for you. Thanks, everyone.